Hey, what's up, you guys? Tim here with the Go Cards, and today we're here with an updated Swordsoul deck profile for the new format. I went to locals last night and I ended up winning, so that was cool. So I just thought I'd bring you guys the deck I played just as like a starting point for the Swordsoul lists that I think I'm going to be working on. This is definitely a list that needs a little bit of work. There's some refinements I definitely make having playtested a little bit with the new format, but we'll go over that when we get to it. So I'm just going to go over it, explain what needs to be explained, and hopefully you guys can take inspiration from this to go out and like test around with your own Swordsoul decks, because I still think this deck is like basically the best mid-range deck in the format, and probably will be for a while. Yeah, let's just hop into it. So I played 3 Ecclesia, 3 Moye, 3 Longyan, 2 Taie, 3 Emergence, and a Blackout. I'm just gonna make sure this is in frame. Yeah, okay, cool. So nothing too crazy about the Swordsoul lineup. It's pretty standard nowadays, but I'll just explain the reasoning for it. 2 Taie, just because the deck is like, this is 46 cards, so the deck is like really tight for space already. I played 3 Taie for the regional, but unfortunately the deck space just didn't allow for this to play 3 of. But I do like 3. It's something that I'd definitely consider like adding a third, because it is a good card in the grind and stuff like that. With the 10s it's particularly good. And then just 1 Blackout, because especially now Desires is that one, we're not banishing this as often, which means that we don't ever really sort of not have access to this. The second one is obviously still not very good going when we go second, because it's like a trap, right? But overall I could consider siding a second Blackout or something like that for the like heavier trap matchups, because like Skill Drain is obviously at 3, so there's like Eldritch and stuff is a lot more popular. And then no Sacred Summit, the Reborn spell, because I just still don't think it's needed because we're doing the Hulk stuff, so I think we've got a better alternative line of play than like Sacred Summoning, basically. But yeah, overall pretty standard Swordsoul line. Just thought I'd explain what needs to be explained, basically, and then everything else is standard. And then we're still playing the 10Es, even without Pros, just because I really enjoy these because of the Hulk stuff. So we're playing 3 Ashna, 3 Vishada, 3 Adhara, and 3 Vessel. This is pretty standard for the Hulk stuff, apart from 3 Vishuda. The reason I like 3 Vishuda is I just think this card is particularly good going second. I know it's like bad to draw multiples, but obviously, like I said, with skill drains and stuff, this is a helpful out to that. And then 3 Adhara is one of the better ones in the grind, being able to add back like ties and stuff like that. And obviously being a tuner for the Hulk stuff is really important. And 3 Vessel just because it basically finds everything. It finds all the 10Es basically. Oh yeah, so if you guys wanted a new updated like Swordsoul combo video without perks and stuff, please let me know and I'll happily make it for you guys. I've had a few people ask, but just wondering if more people are interested, sort of thing, because it's not super different as like combo lines go. It's just like a little bit different, but I can make like a video showing you how to play around hand traps and stuff like that if you like. Yeah, just let me know. Then on to the new sort of inclusion, we have a 3rd copy of E-Telly, and then 2 Ogres. Teleport is really good when it was at 2, so obviously being at 3 is like very nice. Helps us play into the like Hulk stuff, and gives us like access to Yazi going second. I played 2 Ogres today to accommodate like 3 Telly, but I think realistically I probably could have played 1 and get away with it, because I'm not like a big fan of Ogre as a hand trap at the moment in general. So I would cut this to 1 and just play 1 less card base, only play 45. Just sort of trying to trim the deck down a little bit. But yeah, Telly is like really good, so obviously we play the 1 Ogre, and we side Gamma as well, so we have extra targets when we go to like post side going second. Then as like a extra Telly, we have a Destrudo. Destrudo is really cool. It's basically like another sort of E-Telly type card, because it lets us go to Yazi or Halqifibrax. It's just something I'm trying out. It may end up being that like the life points are a little bit too costly or something like that. Sorry about that. Although it's too easy to interact with. But it's something I quite like the idea of. I just really enjoyed the card when it was legal last, so I just wanted to test it out, basically. It's one of the like sort of things I'm just testing, so it could end up being cut. And then the Despot for the Hulk combos, obviously. Really good. So I think the Hulk combos are like so powerful. They basically help you play through hand traps and stuff like that. Then the Lonely Copy of Desires. I still wanted to play this just because I think it is so good. I had a game last night though where I activated Desires as my first action and banished all 3 Moye, which was pretty funny. I still ended up winning that game, but it was just like, okay, Desires Curse, classic. But yeah, I still think 1 of this is worth playing. Obviously I would prefer to have played 3, but I still think it's just absolutely fine because it's still Park Rude. Then we played a lot more going second cards actually. than we had been previously. We played 3 Ash, 3 Imperm as the hand traps, and obviously the 2 Ogre as well, when I can find them. So this was like our hand traps, basically. It's pretty reasonable amount of hand traps. Ogre's like decent for interacting with the Brave cards, and then obviously Imperm is just still sort of the best hand trap, and then Ash is also like a decent one. We sided more hand traps, but I'm not like a big fan of hand traps in general. I prefer cards that like do more, like in terms of like interacting. But yeah, these were the ones I felt like to be fine. And then we played 2 Chalice, which I think is probably going to end up becoming Droplet. Just sort of because I think Droplet might be slightly better now than Chalice. So I'll probably find space for like a third, to change these to Droplets basically, then add a third one. But if you're on a budget or whatever, I still think Chalice is fine as a card. Like, I've been playing this card for an extended period of time, and it's just been fine. There's not really been too many times where I was like, oh, I wish I had Droplet instead. Like, sometimes I just prefer to have Chalice. Yeah, I like this card a lot. And then the last card was 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Yeah, like I said in the regional deck profile, I said I'd move this to the main just because of how much Siphon stuff I expected, and like skill drains and stuff. So I think this is going to be like one of those cards that sort of sticks around for a while in the main. Kind of like a staple, honestly. Which is kind of why I wanted to switch Chalice for Droplet as well, because obviously we can go like Cosmic and then they negate or whatever, and then we chain Droplet, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, so it's 46 cards. Yeah, like I said, probably cut an Ogre, maybe change the Chalices for Droplets. And maybe like Destroyer isn't so good, but I think overall it's a pretty solid like starting point to the format, as far as Swordsoul decks go. Because I know a lot of people sort of drop Swordsoul in terms for PK, but I still enjoy this deck a bit more than PK. I just don't really like the PK deck that much, basically. Yeah. Then the extra deck is exactly the same as it has been. So we got 2 Chi-Jiao, 2 Baxia, Draco Berserker, and Omega for the 8s. The Omega is still just basically for, even though we don't have pros and like we're not blind looking with this anymore. I wanted this for like when we get Maximus, and then we can use this to force out the window early than like Chalice or Imperm the window, which I thought was pretty cool. And then these other 5 are pretty standard. So that was the 8s. And then we played 1 Yazi for the 7. This comes up so much more in this version of the deck, because obviously when we don't have a Swordsoul, we're doing the Halq stuff to get to this, and because like Destroyer and Italian stuff, we're making this a lot when we go second now, which is really cool, because this card's like really, really nice going into boards. And then 1/9, which is Chaofeng. This card's pretty important now, because we're not able to Protest Call Light in the mirror, so we're making Chaofeng more often now than we were before, just because this card is like so powerful. It's a shame there's like a couple of ways I think where maybe you could make this with dark, like a dark material, but I think it might be a bit too gimmicky to actually warrant playing in the list. Maybe in the side or something, I don't know. I'll let you guys know if I ever like do decide to do that. Then 2 10s, Fleur and Cheng Yang. Cheng Yang is still like one of the most underrated level 10 synchros. He's really, really good. And then obviously Floor is pretty broken. I think Cheng Yang is like probably the new way to like start your board a lot of the time, especially against like PK and stuff, because you can sort of use this as like a pseudo floodgate against them, right? Because obviously they banish from the grave, then you banish 2 of theirs. Yeah, like I said, combo tutorial if you guys want to see it for how we're playing the new lines of the format and stuff. Then the links is 2 Monk and a Shaman. I still occasionally want 3 Monk, but it's not been so bad. And then Shaman's just pretty good for some weird situations. Like, you know, where you need to sort of put a tie into grave and bring it back and stuff. Then Halq and Auroradon. Yeah, I still love this engine. I think it's really, really powerful. Being able to go to like floor for free, basically, or like OTK them going second, or Yazi to like, you know, pop Yazi with this to like find the Swordsoul engine. I just think it's really, really strong. And obviously it helps you play around hand traps pretty nicely as well. Gives the deck like 2 lines of play, which I think is nice. And then onto the side. The side's obviously like pretty up in the air, but this is what I did for yesterday. So it was 3 Lancia, 3 Gamma, and a Driver for the hand traps. I think Gamma's just good in general. So like, obviously this is also an E-Tailor target, which is pretty cool. So nothing really to say about Gamma. It's just one of the highest impact hand traps. Lancia, I think, is like the hand trap of the format probably, and I would even consider maining this actually. just because of how popular like PK Invoked and stuff like that is, and even against like the mirror, like hitting on this on the 10Es and stuff is good. So yeah, this is something that I'd actually maybe consider like maining at some point. But I just think it's like a super powerful hand trap at the moment. It's kind of wild that Artifacts are basically running the format, right? Then we played a Duster, a Reboot, and 3 Evenly Matched. Just for background, I still really like Reboot and stuff as a card, just because like Barrier does still exist. Then Evenly and Duster. This is basically sort of the same thing I did as at the regional, but basically the Cosmics went into the main, so then Evenly came into the list just to help us out, like back row decks basically. And then last card was 3 Barrier, just because I still think this card's pretty broken in the mirror and against Invoked and stuff like that. And even going fast against like PK, this still does a fair bit. Being able to stop them getting to the DP or like the Zeus and stuff like that is pretty important. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This is just like I said, a rough draft for the new format. Yeah, if you guys want to see a combo video or anything like that, let me know. I'll probably end up making it anyway, just because I like making combo videos. But yeah, cheers guys.